Hi, I'm Nicole.
And I'm Robin, and today on Books That Burn, we are interviewing an author. Would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Hannah Abigail Clarke. I use they, them, and sometimes he, him, and she, her pronouns.
And thank you for being here with us today. So we're gonna start out as normal with our spoiler-free section. So if anyone is interested in specific book-related questions about the Scapegracers, we will get into that in our second half. But first,
can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yeah, so The Scapegracers is the first book of a trilogy, and it is about a dirtbag teenager named Sideways, who's just a weirdo lesbian who likes the occult and has no friends, and is offered $40 to do some magic tricks at a Halloween party by the Popular Girls trademark. And they actually make magic happen, and they make a little coven, and then nonsense ensues for a couple hundred pages.
Excellent. So, our podcast is about fictional depictions of trauma. So, right out the gate, can you talk a little bit about the way trauma works in your writing?
So, even from a world-building level, the way I conceptualize relationships with power, literally and supernaturally, is very much tied up in personal trauma and collective trauma and cultural trauma. Sideways is someone who is dealing with kind of unresolved grief, both from things that have happened in her life and also the grief and loneliness of being a teenager who's queer in a rural space and feeling alone, compounding cultural traumas of being a queer person, particularly if you're in an unwelcoming space, can be hard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would not be the first author to connect lowercase p power with uppercase p power by any stretch, but I think that saying that these things aren't connected to trauma is, there's very much a link there. Pardon my lack of articulation.
So this is a little bit related to that question, but so with power being inherently connected to trauma in your world building, do you feel that trauma for the sake of trauma is a valid thing for characters to go through or be put through in stories? Or in your world building, does it always need to be plot related? Do you ever just have something happen even if it doesn't connect to the actual plot?
I wonder where those lines are, because Sideways' life is the plot, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't think I would be inclined, personally, to write a trauma porn scene where a character is undergoing something just for sake of creating an emotional response from the audience.
Yeah.
Because whatever I do to these characters is going to remain with these characters. Therefore, I have to be a little thoughtful, or a lot thoughtful, about what sort of things I encounter. But, there probably could have been instances of casual homophobia in this book that didn't strictly have to be there for the plot arc to progress the way it does. But that's not what being queer in the Midwest is like,
Right.
No. That's just somewhat... The birds outside of my window are being incredibly loud. It's just a somewhat unpleasant, constant low-burn trauma that one is constantly undergoing in our culture, being a queer person. So, did I just do that to Sideways to do that to Sideways? I don't know. It just seems like something that would happen to Sideways.
Okay. Has a traumatic event in your books ever changed your perception of a character?
In what way?
Sometimes authors will realize that they want something to be in it, or they'll think something new about the character or go in a different direction having written some traumatic thing.
Or let's say you write something and you think you know how that character is going to interact with it or react to it, and then you write it and realize that that's actually not what's going to happen.
Oh, it might be part of the way I plan books. That's some things sneak up on me, but rarely do they. However,
Okay.
there is a thing that happens to Sideways at a certain point in the book, after which point, and throughout the rest of the series, Sideways has an adverse reaction to a thing that reminds her of that thing. Which I can bring up again in the spoilery section. But
we are absolutely planning to ask you about that in the spoiler section.
I put Sideways through some shit in this book. It's what, I don't know if it surprises me, but yeah, like if something happens to a character, they're either going to deal with that or they're going to loudly not deal with that. And that matters to who they are and the way they navigate their world.
So, with regards to loudly or not dealing with things, how do you decide what a character's reaction is going to be while you're writing them?
Yeah,
is it purely based off of like the personality you've given them, or is it just like how do you kind of quantify and decide that?
I mean, part of it is reflective of what specifically they've experienced, but
okay,
like there are two different characters in this book who have somewhat overlapping traumas who deal with it in very different ways, right? Like, characters deal with grief very differently in this book. And I think, like, part of that is just making a cast with dynamic and differentiated personalities. But another part of that, I think, is that, like, if I'm interested in exploring human affect and reactions to things that are painful, like, I find it disingenuous to believe that everyone would have the same response to it. Hell, I don't have the same response to all of my own stuff. Like, even from a day-to-day basis. So, giving characters, particularly, like, really showy, kind of affectively charged responses, even though I think perhaps that is something we're used to seeing in books, that's not how everyone responds, right? Like, repression exists. So I don't know how much I decided to do both, or that's just sort of how it happened, but it was cognizant on some level.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because there's definitely something I noticed about this book as I was reading it that's not true with every book, is that each character, their responses definitely feel individual. And I've read a lot of books where every character does the same thing. Every character represses until somebody says something they get upset about, and then they're angry, and then it comes out that they're actually dealing with this other thing. And it's every character. And it doesn't make it feel disingenuous necessarily, but it definitely makes it feel very predictable. But reading through your book, there was no sense of where, like I could not assume that I knew how anyone was going to interact with something, which was really cool. And it made everybody feel very individual and very, very unique.
I started to get a sense of how Daisy was going to react to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's because Daisy had a distinct way of reacting that was different from the other characters, and it stuck out in a way I could anticipate.
I love Daisy.
Because it wasn't the same as everybody else, yeah.
Yeah. She's a piece of work, and I love her.
Yeah. So you'd mentioned a little bit queerness and Midwestern queerness, and when you're depicting types of queerness that you do not share, do you check those with members of those communities, or what do you use to guide those depictions?
I mean, part of it is I almost exclusively speak to queer people in my day-to-day life. So
that's relatable.
Yeah. There is some amount of checking with people who I know in real life, and then also checking online resources. There are lots and lots of blogs of human beings who are articulating particularities about their way of being a human being, specifically for authors, and also just human beings who have blogs themed around an aspect of their personhood. So one peruses those resources, one speaks to the people they know in real life. I could very feasibly write something wrong, and if that is ever the case, all I can do is listen and try to do better the next time. I think particularly with queerness, like, I was writing experiences that I am pretty familiar with in the lived sense. Like, I know a lot of gay men. I know a lot of bisexual women. I know... Oh, first book. All right, we'll leave it there.
Come back to that later.
Yeah.
Ask me about that after we stop recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll leave it there.
Sure.
How do you actually approach incorporating visible queerness in your work?
Oh, God. I mean, where's the politic way to start this? I think that one can feasibly write. I'm choosing my words carefully. I think that one can feasibly write, let's say, FF, right? Like in a way that very much flags characters as being queer, and in a way that kind of doesn't, right? Which is to say, like, I'm really interested in telling stories about people who are very much aware of their queerness and the fact that that impacts their life. And I think you can totally write about characters who are in the alphabet soup who, like, it's really not a part of their life, and that's fine. And I think that those stories are also valuable, but I just don't see myself writing any. And, like, again, like, part of it is that my entire social circle essentially is queer. But it's, you know, like, I try to be mindful about the way I talk about the gender of strangers to a certain extent, modulated for the fact that Sideways isn't going to be perfect. There are lots of queer people around Sideways, even when she doesn't realize it, because that's how queer people work. We flock to each other. Yeah.
I have a tangentially related question that isn't necessarily about this particular book, but purely because I'm curious. It's also not one we had on our list.
Okay.
But because you had talked about like having queer people that are conscious of being that way, do you have a thought process on approaching ace or allo characters? Only because I'm asking because for myself, I know this isn't true of everyone, but a defining piece for me of that thing that kind of made me realize that was a thing was realizing that other people do think about this and that I just don't. I'm just curious because a lot of the media representation and a lot, but not all of the book representation that you see out there, kind of the defining characteristic of those characters is that they just don't care and it's just not part of their story. And then somebody else asks the authors or the publishers or the producers later, and they kind of get a response of, oh yeah, this person fits that identity, which is why they don't think about it. Is there a way that you have kind of planned or how you think about approaching those characters or not really?
Okay, for clarity, is the question about characters who don't think about their sexuality or their...
No, just characters who are ace or who are asexual, who are ace or aro.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't claim cognizant representation for ace characters, at least in the first book. Like, that's a thing where if a person wanted to headcanon that, like, go the hell ahead, but I wouldn't be able to claim having put any in cognizantly. But because I'm not ace, I would imagine that I would ask ace people how they wanted me to do it. Yeah, because the process of self-discovery might look very different than how it looked for me. And that it didn't really look away from me because I've kind of always known I'm queer. The world bestowed that upon me. And I think that it's not exclusively the case with ace and aro characters either, right? Like, a lot of people don't really think about the structure of their gender or the structure of their sexuality until they're made aware that, hey, X thing is an option for you. And then you're like, oh, shit, there's language. Whoa, cool. And then they can explore resources related to that thing, right? Like, it's an experience that at least has been regaled to me by people of a couple of different identity boxes, if we want to conceptualize it in that very narrow way. But yeah, I would ask, because it is outside of my own purview. I'm not ace, and therefore I'd probably ask.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I think that there are probably, at least from what I understand, a couple of different queer positionalities one can inhabit where the language might not be immediately obvious, and one is not brought up with the idea that that could even be like a positionality that one inhabits. Which means that, like, your whole process of, like, self-conceptualization as a queer person is just going to look really different from mine, which means that I would probably ask people.
Okay. That's fair. That makes sense as an answer. Yeah, like I said, I was mostly just curious because it makes sense to have, like, especially the characters you've written be super cognizant of that part of themselves. But it was definitely something where, like, reading your book, my brain went, wow, this isn't how I approach life at all.
Yeah.
So I was just, I was curious because it's just different.
Yeah, I mean, hyper visibility and invisibility are just different edges of the same tool of social creation, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
I just happened to be somebody who was anointed dyke from the window of a truck in rural Ohio from the age of 12 onward,
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, our senior assistant editor is weighing in her opinion from the hallway.
Oh, boys.
She wants me to go downstairs because she wants to hang out in the sunshine, but that's not where my computer is.
So, pivoting to a different aspect of identity, do you tend to write people of color based on a specific background or color, or like what's your sorry, can we I read the wrong question. We're going to read that one, but not yet. What is your approach to incorporating visible characters of color in your work, and what do you do to make it go beyond social coding or not?
I mean, Gates is black and Jing is Chinese American, and that's pretty explicit. Sideways is white. I think I probably could have done more to make that explicit. Same with Daisy. And that, like, if I was writing the book now, as opposed to, God, when I was 19, I probably would have done more to make that explicit and not let whiteness be kind of a generic floating absence. Again, like, I try to do research both in person and online, and I try to write compassionately, empathetically, and if I screw up, then I'll listen and try to do better,
Yeah.
Cool. Have you had a character surprise you with their appearance or identity after you started writing?
I feel like
this could be too. This could be like if they were a headcanon of being something specifically in your head, and then you got feedback from someone that they assumed they were white, or that they assumed they were something else that you changed to be more explicit. This counts for this question also.
I mean, it might be that, like, if I am trying to flag a character as, like, any given thing, and that thing does not come across, and a beta reader tells me, like, this thing is unclear or ambiguous, then yeah, I probably will. Like, if I wanted whatever thing it is to be ambiguous for whatever reason, which it doesn't really apply to this question, but I guess more broadly, I might try to obscure it more, or I'll just call the character by whatever label. No,
I think that definitely does count for this question, even if it's, not exactly the wording we were asking.
Yeah.
That definitely counts. Yeah, because I know it's kind of, you know, every once in a while as a reader you have a character and you have kind of an image in your head, and then you find out that they're not quite that image, and or the author had a different intent or a different picture of them, and
I mean, I imagine that a lot of
interesting.
people are going to picture Sideways differently than how I picture Sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Most of which I'm cool with, right? Like, you're the reader, picture whatever you want.
Yeah.
But, like, particularly as the books progress, like, I imagine that I will find myself in a position where people are conceptualizing Sideways as not flagging herself visually or being flagged visually as a queer person, right? Like, Sideways is not the most gender conforming person in the world. Spoiler alert for the rest of the series, but that's not going to change.
Right.
Like, if anything, Sideways just gets progressively dykier as the books go on. And I imagine that there are going to be readers who are very used to picturing, like, a certain cis heterosexual standard of femininity that they will just kind of automatically put on to Sideways. And, like, I'm not the brain police. You can picture whatever you want. It just doesn't match the text. And that can be, like, vaguely annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What is your approach to incorporating characters with disabilities in your work?
I mean, like, I could probably have written more visible disability in Scapegracers. There's not a lot of it. Like, characters certainly are mentally ill in the Scapegracers.
Yeah.
But insofar as physical disability is concerned, I don't have a lot of visual, like, textual representation, at least in the first book. And yeah, like, that's probably something that I could have thought about more thoughtfully when I wrote it. But I'm not going to invent something here to claim that isn't actually textual.
Oh, yeah, we wouldn't.
Well,
yeah, not asking you to do that.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, and even saying, well, I would say, like, even I would say even saying that, you know, you don't have as much, or you don't have that approach yet. I mean, that still makes sense as an answer. Especially, you kind of stated before that, like really everything in this book is about Sideways.
Yeah.
And so, you know, depending on how much she's interacting with characters that do or don't have something, as far as disability is concerned, or even how much she's aware of it, can make that a very different book.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's chronic illness in the book.
Yeah, which definitely counts.
Yeah.
For this question.
I mean, Julian's HIV positive. Like, it's a very little line in the first book. But, like, there's a bit where Boris is like, I'm going to pick up your dad's medication. Do you want anything at the store? You know, but the fact that he is HIV positive is kind of like at this point of his life, not a super loud facet of him, right? Like, it's the condition he lives with. And therefore it doesn't take up space in Sideways' mind as being, like, the most remarkable thing about him, because it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Princess really wants you to know how she feels about this.
Looking for one last question to put in the spoiler-free half.
Oh, let's actually, I'm gonna ask you a question about, just your character conception in general.
Yes.
Do you consider your character's body image or physical description when you're depicting them and their traumas, or when you're writing how other characters treat them?
How so? Their body image in terms of
how they see themselves,
okay.
Or what they physically look like. Either one.
I mean, Sideways, I don't know if this is quite to the effect of what you're asking, but Sideways definitely thinks about the fact that she's physically bigger than the other Scapegracers from time to time. And I think, like, it also could be said that other characters read Sideways as being intimidating. physically.
Yeah.
So part of the way that they treat her is very much like influenced by the fact that some of them read her as kind of scary. Which is both like, actually more than anything, it's the way she carries herself and the way she dresses and the fact that she like is a weirdo who lugs around a big spell book and reads it in class.
Well, and there's also some scenes, you've also have some descriptions of like her thinking about them and letting them do things or letting them like mess with her or touch her and stuff when she's like, I could make them stop. But they're like the size of my hand. And I don't want to hurt them. And there's, I don't know. I think it seems like that might have played into this too, I guess, as a reader.
I think she, at least from my vantage, Sideways is someone who kind of hyperinflates the difference between herself and the other scapegracers. Like Sideways is a dramatic person. And I think she overinflates the difference between herself as like big, bad, scary, tough Sideways, and like often I think misreads the scapegracers as being, Sideways has to kind of get over some internalized misogyny in this book about like the way she reads them.
Yeah.
Because she reads them with a bunch of like kind of tropey ways we're taught to read like feminine teenage girls, right?
Yeah. Especially with how she thinks about them when she's just getting to know them and like is like flashing back to her own preconceived conceptions. Like,
yeah,
she has some very, very stereotypical thoughts about them.
Yeah, she does. And she mostly gets over them. There's 2 more books. Yeah, like she has to deal with her own preconceived notions of who these girls are and what they're like and what they mean, what them being like means for her and what she's like. Because, like, while a lot of the stuff that she thinks about them is very much like distorted, they were also not great to her before the book started. Some of it is inflected by the fact that they were either complicit in or actively kind of shitty to her. So, which, like, in teenage brain can sometimes lead to inflating stereotypes that were pre-existent and easy to access.
So, for outro items, do you have a favorite book written by someone else? And if so, what makes it your favorite?
Singular favorite?
Well,
you can have more than one.
Most recent that comes to your mind. We're not obliging you to champion this book till the end of time, but just what what is something that is, I'm someone who has like a most recent favorite, which
or it could be the favorite. Yeah.
keeps
or if you have like 4 or 5 that you just can reread forever and you will love forever. Like, we would love to have 4 to 5 or even 10 book names to add on here.
So, okay. First, most recent faves. I enjoy Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power, which is also like a lesbian in rural space YA. Very creepy. Into it a lot. I enjoyed Cinderella is Dead. That one's really fun. I enjoyed Girl Serpent Thorn, which I just got. That was a great book. I like Ruthless Gods, which is a sequel to Wicked Saints. I like Gideon the Ninth because I'm a lesbian, which sounds flip, but actually it's really not. That's probably one of the only books in existence that I can think of that has come into my hands anyway with a butch protagonist, which as a butch person is important. Oh boy, I'm really excited for the Year of the Witching. It hasn't come out yet. Haven't got my hands on a copy yet, but it's on the top of the list. Soon. I liked the Song of Wrath and Ruin. Yeah, I like those a lot.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Cool.
My copy of Cinderella is Dead had better be in the mail. I'm waiting for that.
Do you have any queer authors or authors of color whose work you'd like to just, like, shout out or recommend to our audience?
Everything I just said.
Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome.
Excellent.
And did we ask about your favorite non-traumatic thing in your books?
My favorite non-traumatic thing in the books. I really like when they go to the movie theater before the trauma happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, horror movies and horror camp is, like, weirdly really important to me. And I just really like shitty, like, you guys might know kind of the theater I was thinking of. Because I was thinking of a particular theater.
I particularly enjoyed the, do you really care about our IDs? You know you don't. It's this town. Like, that, I've had that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love really intensely weird little spaces that have their own, like, pocket universe energy. And which means that I really enjoy that, and like, I like the Delacroix house a lot. I also like the flashback scene where Sideways, like, regales information about her mother and getting her spell book for the first time is a traumatic scene, but nonetheless, I really like it. Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed your descriptions of the snacks.
Snacks are so important.
In general.
Food is important. I'm a big believer in, like, over-describing food scenes. Underutilized sensory device and character beat device. Even though Sideways eats meat and I don't, so there were occasionally things that Sideways was, like, really into that I'm like, this is gross. We forgive her.
So, obviously we have the book, The Scapegracers, which by the time this interview is released, the book is out. Go get the book.
Wild.
Do you have any additional pluggables that you would like? You can say them here, and we will also put them in the show notes for the episode.
When is this going up?
This is going out on the release date for your book.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
If all goes well.
We definitely will not release it earlier than that. We can wait if you would like us to.
Release date is fine.
Okay.
I will have events, but the events are still being planned.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you have a website? Because that
I
might
do have a
the
website.
events.
Yes.
Excellent. What's that?
It's HannahAbigailClarke.com.
And where can people find you on social media? Do you have a Twitter handle you would like to plug?
I have a Twitter, and it is Sapphomancer, and one could feasibly find my bullshit there. One was so inclined to do so.
Wonderful. And for it's the same as your Discord handle, right?
Uh-huh.
I know what it is.
I know, but our audience does not. So just for anyone looking, it's SAPPHOMANCER.
Yes, Sappho as in lesbian poet, Mancer as in doer of magic, yes.
Oh, I didn't even put that together, but that's actually really good. I'm a fan.
I'm a parody of myself.
I'm over here like, how else would you spell Sapphomancer?
Well, there are other ways, and it could have F's.
It could have. It did not.
I suppose it could, yeah. I could be doing a dialect thing where I put a P in front of the S in Sappho.
True. And you don't have to have two P's, technically. It could just be PH. There's options.
Yeah. Could be in Greek.
We'll have
Right.
those links. We'll put that website and Twitter link in our show notes. So if you are partaking in this episode, you can check there. And any last thing you want to say before we go?
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us.
This was a good time.
Good.
We're glad.
Excellent.
So, thank you
for showing up, tuning into another one of our interviews with authors. You can find our regularly scheduled episodes fortnightly at Books That Burn, just everywhere. You can find more of our episodes in whatever feed you originally found this. And we also have transcripts for some of our episodes. Those are at transcriptsthatburn.com.
You know what? I'm sitting here and I realize that we never talk about the Burn book character, and I'm on a podcast called Books That Burn. Oh, fuck.
That's okay. That'll be a nice little tidbit for our listeners to go read about in your book.
Yeah, there's a literal burned book character.
There's a little burned book character. My favorite fucking character.
Alright, thank you so much for being with us.
Okay.
Alright, go ahead and hit stop.
Okay.